But Brandon, let's move on into our next topic. And I kind of like this one, bringing it in, because as I was looking at ESPN, I saw this article and it says Jim Harbaugh tops Nick Saban in Q score among millennial males. And basically, they pulled a bunch of millennial males who were football players, and to nobody's surprise, I don't think it should be any surprise, Jim Harbaugh is popular among millennials than Nick Saban.
Yeah, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, because if you look at Jim Harbaugh, what is he? He is a very outspoken guy. He is a very, not necessarily in your face kind of guy,
play the game.
but he is much more open to the media, open to whatever, where Nick Saban seems more reserved, he's not as much of a character, at least not in public. He may be privately, but in public he is pretty much business. And Harbaugh is business with a side of frickin' fun, and that's the way that he does things. Nick Saban on the other side, like I said, he may be having fun, and his guys may absolutely love him, but it's more of a toned down, reserved kind of guy who is just nose to the grindstone. Let's get it done. There's not anything wrong with either one of those, but for millennials, they are much more, they want the entertainment, they want to be entertained, they want to laugh, they want to have someone like Jim Harbaugh. So that's how absolutely he's going to win that 10 out of 10 times.
I'm going to compare this to fathers. And I say that because most time football players, when asked about their head coaches, they see the head coach as kind of a father figure for the football team. When I look at Jim Harbaugh, he's kind of the cool hip dad where it's like, yeah, we're going to go over to Brandon's house because Mr. Swanson's there. Woo, we're going to hang out with Brandon. Yeah, Mr. Swanson. And then Nick Saban's kind of like that, oh, I don't want to go to Brandon's house. Mr. Swanson, he's kind of strict. Mr. Swanson needs to let loose a little bit, kind of not be so rigid. That is Nick Saban. Nick Saban's that like stern father where it's like, what is fun? I don't know what this fun word is.
Is that how you're going to be?
No, I'm going to be the kid at heart, man. I'm going to be the one playing video games with my kids. I'm going to be doing all the stuff that they're doing with them.
Unless, of course,
my wife is basically going to have as many kids plus one for me.
I was going to say, unless, of course, they did anything that these Alabama players did.
Oh, then they're getting stern.
Then they're going to be suspended for 2 games.
Yeah, well, then it comes.
They're going to be suspended for 2 weeks from the PlayStation.
Hey, you know my story about if I ever have a kid and they come home late. Just look at them, look at the clock, look back at them, turn off the TV, and go to bed. I'll talk to them in the morning. They'll know I'm disappointed in them. They'll know.
They'll be like, thank God Dad didn't say anything. Let's run downstairs and keep going.
Oh, they'll get it the next day. But no, I plan on being the fun father. You never know what you're going to do until you're actually a father, but I would like to be that Jim Harbaugh kind of a father where either my son or my daughter's friends are like, yeah, let's go hang out at your house because your parents are so cool. Or like, man, your parents are so cool. That's what I want to be because that's what my parents were to me. But that's what I see with Jim Harbaugh and Nick Saban. Harbaugh's the fun dad. Nick Saban's not the fun dad.
I just think it's really interesting because, again, it's between the ages of 18 to 34. So those guys are looking for a fun time. I think they look at Jim Harbaugh as the type of guy who's like, hey, we can go out, we're going to get some drinks, and we're going to have a rowdy time.
With Nick
Saban, they're looking like, we could probably go out, probably have to get one drink. It's going to be a scotch. We're going to sip it all night, and then we're going home.
And I mean, Jim Harbaugh is the guy he was in a rap video. He was in a rap video where he was the who's got it better than us? Nobody. That's got to be cool if you're a recruit coming in. And that's why what I said earlier when you were giving your description and I kind of slid it underneath, I kind of feel like at the same time it's Harbaugh's personality, but part of it is like, man, Harbaugh knows how to play the game, man. He knows how to play the game. And that game I'm talking about is the recruiting game. Because how do you get recruits into your school? Yeah, you could be a good football team, but nowadays that's not enough. Why can't you be a good football team and provide that fun environment outside and be a fun guy yourself, that players are like, man, I love this guy. I want to go play for him.
But at the same time, there's a lot of guys who they want to go play for someone because they know that he wins. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it helps that Harbaugh wins.
But
for both of them, Harbaugh wins. Saban clearly wins. Mm-hmm. They know what kind of style they're getting themselves into. They know the type of guy that Jim Harbaugh is, and players have said about Nick Saban that he's actually really fun. You know, but he doesn't necessarily. He probably thinks, I don't need to show it, you know, to the media or to the other people. That's not who I'm here for. I'm here for my guys. I'm here to win with them. I'm not here to win with you. That's why when Paul Feinbaum, you know, asks him these questions, and he kind of
sure it's not Finnebaum.
You know, you could take it either way. It could have been. It could have been Finnebaum.
I just like poking it there every time you say it.
For the longest time, I did. I thought, who's this Paul Finnebaum guy?
I could looking at his last name, I could. Totally
and also
see
because, sorry, Paul, if you're listening, clearly he is. I'm sure. Don't watch your show that much. So
unless Phyllis is on.
From Mulga,
it's the national trophy.
Hell of a woman. But I just think that he doesn't think that he owes those guys anything. Like people like us, he hates us. You know, because I think it's because we're gonna ask questions and dive deeper into some things than probably we need to. But that's what we do. You know, that's our job. That's why we do this. For him, it's just take what I have to say on the service, and that's what it is. You know, because I've got a job to do. I've got players to coach. I got coaches to work with to win a national championship. And that's all it is. For Harbaugh, he's much more out in the open. I'm going to just put it all out here. I'm going to joke with you. We're going to have some fun. Neither way is bad, I don't think. Personally. You know, some people may say, oh, well, Nick Saban needs to loosen up. Well, you know, maybe he is loose, and that's just his style. And some people may say, oh, this Jim Harbaugh guy, he needs to stop being like this and be more serious. Well, you know, he wins. You know, the minute that he has a losing season and he starts to seem like he's having too much fun, then maybe you can say something. But at least then he's keeping the locker room loose, you know?
You know what we can say about both, though? We can say that both are true to who they are.
Yeah.
Where Nick Saban's not trying to be fake by, hey, you know what, I'm going to go above and beyond to try to, put on a show, get these kids in town. Whereas Harbaugh's not doing that either. That's just who Harbaugh is. So, I mean, both of them are true to themselves, and I think we're having a totally different conversation if it was Harbaugh wins and Saban, or if Saban wins, I mean to say, and Harbaugh doesn't win. Then we're having a different conversation because we can take into that, well, does winning, like, it's easier to say, yeah, this guy's more fun when you're also winning too.
But I would think, and this is completely different because it's two different sports, but you take a look at Joe Madden, the manager of the Chicago Cubs.
Great guy.
And he is a guy who, you're winning, that's awesome. But you lose, and guess what? You're still going to have fun. He's still going to have you know, dress up in these goofy outfits and stuff like that because you know what? You're doing it as a team, and you're forgetting about it. Okay, you know what? We lost. It wasn't a good day. We're playing tomorrow.
Get them the next day.
You know, for football, it's a little different because you don't play tomorrow.
The try not to suck shirts. I love those. I love them.
You know, but at football, it's different because you don't just play the next day. You get a whole week, and then you play the next one. But I think that if people can take kind of the Joe Madden mentality of, you know what? This was not a good day. We sucked. We were awful. You all played like shit. And I coached like a dumbass. But you know what? Let's move on. Let's have some fun. Let's move on. Because guess what? If you just grovel in the past, there will be no future. So that's what I think.
And the question I want to propose to you guys before we move on is, put yourself in the shoes of a high school player. Who would you rather play for, Jim Harbaugh or Nick Saban? Let us know down below in the comment section.